Hello my dear students, welcome back once again to Classroomtv.in. Do visit our website www.classroomtv.in and also download the Classroom TV app on your Android mobile phones for accessing exhaustive video content in the subjects of mathematics, physics, chemistry, English, biology, social studies, plus IIT and NEET foundation at extremely affordable rates across state and CBSE boards for standards 6th to 10th. Learning on the move was never so easy, was never so affordable. Today, in this and in the coming episodes, we are going to learn a new lesson, a very important lesson which casts on us a responsibility to how we conserve it. The moment you see this picture, what is it? Yes, it is water. This image pertains to water. I hope you have guessed the name of the lesson, but anyway, before that, let us see. Is water a resource? Is water a resource? Definitely. Before going, let us understand the definition of resource. A natural feature or phenomenon that enhances the quality of human life. That enhances the quality of human life is what we call it as a resource. Now, then isn't water a resource? Yes. It enhances. Without water we can't survive. Leave apart enhance. We can't even survive. Either lot of water, floods, heavy rains, cyclones, tsunamis, whatever occurs, causes damage, very little damage. Here comes to my mind the Sanskrit saying, Ati sarvatre varjayet. So, anything in excess is harmful and anything in moderation is always preferred. But to have that, even that moderation also, we need to take steps to preserve and conserve this precious water resource. We don't realize. In the morning when you start brushing our teeth, we keep the taps open and start brushing, and the water will be going through the tap, flowing through the tap. And shaving also, it will be open and then you start shaving, and then because it is free in most of the cases or very nominally priced, we don't give much of importance to this precious resource. Now, at the end of this lesson, I am sure you are going to become responsible citizens and conserve and preserve water. So, my dear students, let us learn now this lesson, water resources. So, we will go with the introduction. 3/4 of the earth's surface is covered with water, but only a small proportion of it accounts for fresh water that can be put to use. Only a small portion. 3/4 of the earth's surface is covered, a huge water, and only small portion of. See, supposing you are going in a ship, all around you have water, but you can't drink it. So 3/4 of the earth's surface is covered with water, but only the potable water is only a small portion. It is mainly obtained from surface runoff and groundwater that is continually being recharged through hydrological cycle. Hydrological cycle, yes, you studied in your science and other previous lessons also. Evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and then falling as rainfall, and then again the cycle, what you call it as hydrological cycle. This is what we say. Now, if you look at this water, this picture, evaporation, the water surface outflow the runoff, whatever we get from all this, the surface runoff, it goes into lakes, and some of it goes into the earth, percolation, infiltration, subsurface groundwater and groundwater. This is soil moisture. So water is in different forms. So this is soil moisture, this purple color one, and this is the groundwater, and this here comes your salt water, where the earth and the ground and ocean come together. You have salt water intrusion. This also water is also not potable. You can't drink it. So what happens? Here it evaporates from ocean, then condensation, then it goes and then loses heat. It can precipitates and then again falls as rain. Again it falls rain. This I think you have studied many a time in your science and your social studies lessons. So this is what we call hydrological cycle. So this fresh water what we are getting is through this hydrological cycle. In the course of your evaporation, condensation, precipitation and rainfall, here it comes into your lakes and ponds and other water bodies, and also it recharges the groundwater. But whatever it goes into ocean, again we can't drink it. All water moves within the hydrological cycle, ensuring that water is a renewable source. So in whatever form it is, it lies within this hydrological cycle. It lies within the system. It could be in any form. It could be in the form of ocean water or groundwater, or in the form of surface water, lakes and ponds, all these things. But the net amount of water that is available, that is there, it's only changing its what you call status. As you change your display profile of your WhatsApp and Facebook or whatever you call it, its status changes, but water remains same. It could be in any of these forms. So, but it lies within this hydrological cycle. However, many countries and regions around the globe suffer from water scarcity. As I was saying a short while ago, in spite of so much of water being available, 3/4 surface of the earth being covered in water, we don't have sufficient water to drink in different areas. We are going to learn. It is predicted that by 2025, nearly 2 billion people will live in absolute water scarcity. Nearly 2 billion people, we are going to live in absolute water scarcity. My dear students, never be under the illusion it's not me, it is them. It will never happen to me. No. Don't be under that false illusion. Illusion itself is false. Don't be under that illusion that nothing is going to happen to me. My parents are going to take care of my water needs. No. We just can't predict how it is going to turn. That is why awake and then be alert and be responsible. This again here. Once again here for that picture, better understanding. Evaporation, condensation, clouds and the precipitation, and then you get your waterfall. And this, whatever the rain it falls, surface runoff, it goes to this again, this lakes, and then sea, it also goes to seas. So different water bodies are filled, but ultimately it remains within this system. Now this whole, if you look at this table, you will understand this is the total Earth's water. If you look at this picture, 97% is in saline water, oceans, and fresh water is only 3%. And in this 3%, where is it? It is in the ice caps and glaciers, it is 68.7%, and the groundwater is 30.19%, 1%, and then others has 0.9% groundwater. And this surface water is only 0.3, and within this surface water is 87% in lakes, swamps 11%, and rivers 2%. So where are we? Now if you remember that the earth, blue dot. If you look from the space, the earth looks like a tiny dot. We studied in one of the earlier lessons. Blue dot, what you say. Similarly, so much of water, but by the time it comes to our drinking needs, it's only very little rivers and lakes. See here how big the picture is. Freshwater 3%. Among this again, ice caps and glaciers, of course they melt and then we get away. Of course we have our Indo-Gangetic plains and then the Gangetic rivers. All these things, they're melting. But it's not so easy. It is accessible only to the people, citizens living in those areas. There are some areas, like the best example is Rajasthan, or some remote areas in Gujarat, or some remote areas in Telangana. Having Ganges river somewhere in North India is not going to help them. So this fresh water, this potable water is scattered. So if you look at the macro view, okay, so much of water. But when you look at the micro view, the availability, the availability in your place, we'll learn in the lesson, like we know this called Meghalaya, highest rainfall, but still people have water scarcity. Quite surprising. We're going to learn that also. So never ever waste this precious water, natural resource. So now we learn water scarcity and the need for water conservation and management. Conservation is important, also managing things. So that now there are various reasons. We have unseasonal rains, or absolute drought, or not the seasons not following their scheduled time because of environmental pollution, global warming. Unknowingly or unwittingly, we also are a cause to this environmental hazard. They are saying tiny drops of water make a mighty ocean. Now, if you look here, again, if you let us go to the first slide, what is this? Tiny drops of water. Tiny drops of water make a mighty ocean. So you and I also, without realizing, we have that false notion, okay, I am not doing anything. Okay, even if I do, it's only one drop. No, my dear students, everyone is as good a culprit as every other person who is wasting water. So let us learn and be responsible and discharge our duties properly in water conservation and also in water management. This I find in schools, especially during your lunch hour or in the short pause or short interval, whatever you call it. Most of you, if you go to the washroom and then keep the taps open in the wash basin or in the water closets or toilets, the taps keep running. Sorry, the water keeps running. You don't tie the taps or you don't close the taps, whatever you call it. Then that goes into drain, waste of water. That has a cascading effect. Even the electricity bill for the school also goes up. So be responsible. Given the abundance and renewability of water, it is difficult to imagine that there would be water scarcity. As I was just saying a short while ago, we are so crowded, it's not going to happen to me. Chalo, theek hai, mujhe kuch nahi hone wala hai. No. Normally, water shortages are associated with regions having low rainfall and those that are drought prone, and the deserts of Rajasthan, and women balancing many matkas. We have that image. Matka means earthen pots used for collecting and storing water and traveling long distances to get water are visualized. The moment you say desert or water scarcity, our thought immediately goes to the state of Rajasthan. And what image it strikes to you? Women going long distances to carry water in these matkas. I am happy. I am in my metro or in my place. I don't have any trouble. We can't be blissfully irresponsible. The availability of water resources vary over space and time due to variations in seasonal and annual precipitation, but water scarcity in most cases is caused by overexploitation, excessive use, and unequal access to water among different social groups. Yes, here comes this issue again. Variations, due to seasonal variations. As I was saying a short while ago, because of this global warming, there is a change in the seasonal pattern of rainfall. Unseasonal rains or heavy rains, cyclones, floods, whatever you name it, all natural calamities. So, variation in seasonal and annual precipitation. Precipitation means the amount of rainfall what we get. But water scarcity in most cases caused. We ourselves are caused. We are the causes for this scarcity, overexploitation. Again, go back to the favorite example of brushing your teeth with the taps open. Water will be flowing. I'm sure tomorrow morning after you watch this video and learn this lesson, tomorrow when you go to, after waking up in the morning, when you go to complete your ablutions, use water judiciously. Excessive use and unequal access. Yes, here these people walk miles together to get one pot of water, but whereas we who are living in other parts of the city where the water is comfortable, we waste. So this is an unequal distribution. And people in the slums, they have to go and stand in the queue for the municipal pump and then collect 2 bucketfuls or 3 bucketfuls of water and then use them cautiously and drink also. Whereas those living or those well off will buy tankers or have a luxurious bath in water tub. So there is an unequal distribution of water. Natural resource, but unequal distribution, overexploitation, excessive use, all these are the causes for what we call water scarcity. Many cities are examples of areas or regions with ample water sources but still face water scarcity. There is ample water but we have this. Thus, water scarcity may be an outcome of large and growing population. Population is booming, at least in our country, and consequent greater demands for water and unequal access to it, which requires more water not only for domestic use but also to produce more food. Yes. Why? Growing population. Now more mouths to feed. Okay, the government does it or we does it, but it's a material. But with population increasing and with the life expectancy going up, the number of mouths to be fed is growing exponentially. So consequently there is a demand for more food, more water, everything is more and more. So obviously what happens? This results in water scarcity because water is diverted for cultivation, for irrigation process. And more water needs to be given to people for drinking and the other needs. Obviously, it is not sufficient to meet the demands of the growing population. Yes, we all have the bitter experience of the growing population. When you go to any temple or any religious place or any tourist place or any pilgrim center, wherever you go, or a cinema hall even, or on Sundays you walk on the streets, at the end of the day when you walk on the streets, full traffic, because population, and in this the load is more on urban centers, because people are migrating from villages in search of livelihood to nearby urban centers, putting load on the water resources in the urban centers. Hence, to facilitate higher food grain production, water resources are being overexploited to expand irrigated areas. Now, when there is a demand, so what happens is, growing population needs more food. So, whatever food that is produced is happily sold off in the market. So, the farming community, the agricultural community will think that, okay, I am able to sell my food grain, so let me grow more areas. So, I try to get more area under cultivation. To cultivate, I need more water. So, what happens is, I drill one more bore well or tube well deep into the earth to draw more water. So, this is what we call it a vicious circle. A vicious circle. You think more. You go more deep. This has to be balanced. Irrigated agriculture is the largest consumer of water. Now, with the demand for food, more food grains, irrigation is being improved, more land is being cultivated. So, that takes away a lot of water. It is indeed to revolutionize the agriculture through developing drought resistant crops and dry farming techniques. Now, what is needed? We can't keep on try to rely on irrigated agriculture. What is needed to revolutionize the agriculture through developing drought resistant crops and dry farming. Food grains, try to grow dry farming food grains and drought resistant crops. So, even if there is water shortage, the food grain output is not affected much. For that, we need to do research. With many farmers drilling tube wells, it may lead to falling groundwater levels, adversely affecting water availability and food security of the people. As I was just saying a short while ago, I want to bring more acreage into cultivation. I drill more number of these tube wells. I do it, my neighbor does it, my neighbor on right hand does it, and left hand does it, front and back, everybody does it. The entire area is full of all these tube wells, or what we call it, bore wells. So, we are drawing on the last resource deep inside the earth to satisfy our need to grow more food grains, and it may lead to an acute shortage in coming years, because we are going to drain out all even the groundwater. Post-independent India witnessed intensive industrialization, large industrial houses, MNCs, MNC stands for multinational corporations, and urbanization creating vast opportunities. So, post-independent India, our leaders thought of whatever this drawback we had, because during the colonial rule, once the yoke was thrown off, when we became independent, the focus was on developing, creating infrastructure, building dams, improving irrigation, improving industrialization, various factors. So, there was a rapid growth of urbanization and industrialization. The ever increasing number of industries has made matters worse by exerting pressure on existing water resources. So, in industries also, they are dependent on water. Industries, apart from being heavy users of water, also require power to run them, and much of this energy comes from hydroelectric power. So, we have started a factory industry, but to operate it, we need power. And where does power come from? Most of it comes from hydroelectric, from water, hydro, water, electric. We learn in the course of this lesson, you must learn also, we learned in a physics lesson also, hydroelectricity. So again, where are you again? Hydroelectric means again you are going back to water resource. It all boils down to water resource. Today in India, hydroelectric power contributes approximately 22% of the total electricity produced. Thermoelectric and the nuclear, all this we are producing, but hydroelectricity approximately works out to 22 to 25%. Moreover, multiplying urban centers with large and dense populations and urban lifestyles have not only added to water and energy requirements, but have further aggravated the problem. Now we know, especially in the metros, in 1 acre of land you have multiple towers, 40 floors, 50 floors, 30 floors, each floor comprising about 6 to 7 families or 8 families. Say in 1 acre, let us say, there are 100 families. Average family size is, let us take 400 people and their maids, drivers. So roughly 600 people are geographically staying in 1 acre of land. What do? The housing complex, they drill a hole deeper and deeper, take tubal water to fill the overhead tanks and then get water to feed all these families. Adjacent next 1 acre has another 100 flats or 200 flats. So this over dependence on limited geographical area will add to water scarcity in the particular locality. Because of the concentration of the population in the urban centers, because of better job opportunities, is causing a stress on the natural resources. So more number of people, more power, more water, and because of the environmental problems, we have unseasonal rains, it's very hot, global warming, all the flats run the ACs throughout the night. Now we are so accustomed to live with ACs on, again it leads to power. Power again depends on hydroelectricity or thermoelectricity. It's a vicious circle. So my students, I keep warning you again and again, be responsible citizens. Most of the housing societies and colonies in cities have their own groundwater pumping devices to meet their water needs. I was just saying. Thus, fragile water resources are being overexploited and have caused the depletion in several of these cities. Now you go 400 feet, 500 feet to draw water. After maybe a couple of years, the water table, it dries in the particular area. Now what should all these flat owners do? Buy from municipal tankers. Municipal tanker also not available, they go some faraway place and then buy it and get it. So the never ending quench for water continues. In some situations, water is sufficiently available to meet the needs of the people, but the area still suffers from water scarcity. What do? Here this picture is applying paste on his brush and the water is being wasted. He could have, after putting paste on the brush, just before starting to brush his teeth, he can open the tap, collect a handful, put in mouth and then gargle and throw it on and start brushing and again close the tap. But here, this most of you do it, or I should say most of us do it. Why blame only you? Even me, I used to do, now I have become responsible. At your age maybe I was not so aware of, but having realized, I want you to be responsible. There has been a growing concern that even if there is ample water to meet the needs of the people, much of it may be polluted by domestic and industrial wastes, chemicals, pesticides and fertilizers used in agriculture, thus making it hazardous for human use. Now we have learned many times in our lessons, agriculture and then the chemistry lessons, industrial effluents were seen. how drinking water gets polluted. We have learned already about the examples of mercury poisoning, finding mercury in the fish, and people eat those fish, but not fit. So this is a vicious cycle. So we should know to conserve and manage water. This pollution, as I say, industrial waste, this septic tank, and then the water leaks, and then percolation, and the drain, all these things, it goes into the groundwater, especially in the industrial areas. We feel, okay, this is far away, but when the water percolates to the groundwater table, these pollutants, they again flow down to the other area where people, though they are a bit far away from these polluting industries, the groundwater, it flows down, and when the person here, if he draws through tube well and drinks, he is also affected. So pollution also is a major cause. Percolation, and then here the water table, it percolates down. And then again drain water also. We have municipal drains, they go sometimes open drains. There is a crack in the drain wall. Drain water goes inside, gets percolated, and yes, nothing much to say. The need of the hour is to conserve and manage our water resources to safeguard ourselves from health hazards, to ensure food security, continuation of our livelihoods and productive activities, and also to prevent degradation of our natural ecosystems. So the need of the hour, conserve and manage our water resources so that we ourselves are healthy also. Nowadays you must have seen about the stress and all these things, and then the very young people becoming diabetics, having blood pressures and various other diseases. They are all lifestyle diseases, and part of it is because of the contaminated food that we eat and contaminated water that we drink, affecting our overall health. Overexploitation and mismanagement of water resources will impoverish this resource and cause ecological crisis that may have profound impact on our lives. Now, when you read this sentence, stop thinking of Rajasthan, but start thinking of some drought-prone area in Africa. Recall those pictures. Poverty-ridden, lack of water, looking for help from other governments, other countries. That situation should never come. So even in the olden days, our forefathers had these hydraulic structures in ancient days. Just an interesting snippet which you will understand. In the 1st century BC, Sringavarapura near Allahabad had sophisticated water harvesting system channeling the flood water of the river Ganga near Allahabad. 1st century BC, very old structure. In those days, mind you, my dear students, the rains were falling in time and on time. The pollution was not much, a lot of greenery. Environmental pollution was not as bad as today, or literally we can say pollution free. But even in those days, they were conscious enough to conserve water, and then this thing was built. Water harvesting system. They didn't want to waste it, though it was more available, but still people were responsible. During the time of Chandragupta Maurya, dams, lakes and irrigation systems were extensively built. Evidences of sophisticated irrigation works have also been found in Kalinga, Odisha, modern day Odisha, Nagarjunakonda in Andhra Pradesh, then Bennur in Karnataka, Kolhapur in Maharashtra. We have all these sophisticated, modern, almost like what we have today. The technology is same, gradient flow. Flow of water is, and then how to conserve it, how to do it, all those are sophisticated way. In the 11th century, Bhopal Lake, one of the largest artificial lake of its time, was built in 11th century. Imagine. So 11 centuries behind ago. This was built 20 centuries ago. So people were, and the kings were responsible. Their foresight is truly commendable. In the 14th century, the tank in Hauz Khas, Delhi, was constructed by Iltutmish for supplying water to Siri Fort area. Those of you who are in Delhi and watching this video will know about this Hauz Khas lake. It was built by Iltutmish in 14th century for feeding the Siri Fort area, this one. With this, we conclude this episode of the chapter Water Resources, and we will continue the remaining portion in the coming episodes. Meanwhile, do continue to watch classroomtv.in either through your computers or through your mobile phones for excellent video content, exhaustive video content in all the subjects. Do read the lesson. Seeing you again in the next episode. Have a good day. All the best.